Hey y'all, it's your girl Toyia T, and today we have a great show for you. And I just want to make sure that we are thanking the people that make this show possible. This month's sponsor is Alpha Wolf Aerials, and Alpha Wolf Aerials is all about aerial photography and videography. So make sure that you thank Alpha Wolf Aerials by going supporting them at their social media. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and bring our guests in. We have Isaac Higgins and we have Darius Bobo here to talk to us about workforce automation today. So come on in. I want to first have you guys just start by doing a brief introduction and letting us know who you are and why people would want to hear what you have to say about workforce automation.
I'm having a little trouble hearing you, Toya.
You having a hard time hearing me? How about now?
Nope.
Can you hear me? No. I'm not sure what's going on.
I can hear you, but it was low. That's all.
Same here.
You want to go ahead, Isaac? Well,
Sure. We can fill the air. My name is Isaac Higgins, and I'm a software developer. I have been for the last 22 years. Um, Workspace automation, workplace automation, it's been something that I've always been passionate about ever since the first robot movie I've ever seen. I doubt I can even remember the name of it, but it's always been something that draws my eye, that technology can move humanity forward and fill in the things that we can't do genetically with ourselves. Um, I look forward to everything that we can do to make our lives better with any type of automation that we can have. And I have more about that later. Darius.
cool. Thank you. That's a good explanation, I would say. I'm an entrepreneur. I've been an entrepreneur the past 30 years in the restaurant, bar, lounge industry. Most recently, for the last 7 years, in the cannabis industry. Workforce automation and how it has affected me is something that's been affecting me since I could remember. When I was in college, I studied drafting and architecture by using hand and pencil and pen. And shortly thereafter, they came up with this thing called AutoCAD, and they could do the
Yeah.
drawings that I took a year of lettering class, one whole year of lettering. People's like, you got to do lettering, yeah. And then after I graduated, they had AutoCAD that did all the lettering for you. So automation has affected me throughout my career. I think it's something that's part of industry as a norm. So yes, I'm excited about it. I think it's something that just augments our talents as a human and just makes us better. So I think you should embrace it. So
Yeah, and I think in the history of workplace automation, we've seen so many things get added that people always are initially afraid of. And if we want to talk about AutoCAD,
definitely.
is there used to be giant drafting tables, and
Yes,
you had your compass, and you had like little clear plastic things, and you
you
had
dry
to learn how
erase
to.
board.
Yeah, you had to do all, and if you messed up, you're like
You
screwed.
were
You had to
done.
go in and
Done.
start over, or cut pieces out. We're dabbing white out onto papers so we don't
Yeah.
have to restart over.
Yeah,
So
so it's been something that's naturally a part of it. And I say I'm an artist as well. And
yeah,
even from an art perspective, this AI and creating images and what have you, it's still something that you can embrace as an artist, because I'm starting to embrace AI just on the creativity side. But now when I draw something or paint it, I say it's human intelligence or real intelligence.
So,
But work for yeah, it's something that's here.
so do you think there's any modern day fears that you might have about AI and the direction it's going, or how we've already started to incorporate a lot of it into our lives?
That's a totally different conversation. If Elon Musk is saying that we should be afraid of it, I definitely think there's something about that, because that's just a fact of where AI is going. I don't want to get too deep into that part of it, because I think what society does or what culture does is they show us movies to prepare us for what will come. So just imagine what we've seen with respect to AI, be it Terminator, be it the Matrix, or what have you.
Right.
I think it can go that far. I mean, the crazy thing, the question is what industry is next? I think the thing is, what industry hasn't been touched? Because AI touches everything. Like,
Absolutely.
in cannabis, I'll tell you what I've experienced in cannabis. And this might be the same with a cook in the kitchen. Every master grower in the nation thinks he has the right recipe to grow the best cannabis in the nation. But what happens is inefficiencies come about. So if I'm the owner of the cultivation space, I need efficient a process that's efficient that can be duplicated again and again,
Hmm.
versus relying on one guy who says we have to leave it out in the light 7 hours right here. He's really coming from his spirit, his soul. Whereas you can actually scientifically calculate the nutrients, shade, light, all these things to produce a better consistent crop. And
Right.
that's where business comes in play. It's about workforce automation, is about efficiencies, increasing profit margin, and going to scale. That's how I
Yeah.
see it.
Yeah, I think the efficiency part has always been something that's been close to me, because when I first started software development, I was a webmaster,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
I wrote HTML and JavaScript just raw, just like right into a text file, and named it .html and deployed it to a server. And then as time progressed on, years came about, we were doing this thing called a content management system. And they said, "Oh,
Yeah.
this will make webmasters obsolete." And
Nah,
I'm like, no.
nah, it's
What
Right.
not.
it did do was it changed me from doing 3 or 4 websites a week to doing like 3 or 4 in a day.
I
And
was
so,
about to say,
So
yeah,
it allowed you to do more with less, right?
yeah,
yeah,
I mean, I could put out content as quickly as I could type it.
Hmm.
And then occasionally, you when you're doing websites back then, you would only do the template around it, but you still had to do the write the content and the copy that goes inside that. And if I
and
could get
now you
somebody to
don't.
tell me what that copy is, that's what I had to do. And that was automation they thought would kill the webmaster. And here we are 23 years later, and I never write HTML, but I've already like deployed like 5 pages today. So
No,
Right.
I see.
yeah.
Because now you guys don't have to learn the code, right? At this point, you can just let the code kind of work in the background and you tell it what you want to do.
So I did want to talk about that. Um, you still have to know what you're doing, because when I'm prompting the computer to do something
There
for
you
me,
go.
and I didn't go into this, but I use generative AI for my job now,
Yeah,
and it's Microsoft Copilot. And what it does is it helps me write code as I'm writing code. So I don't actually prompt it. I don't say, "Hey, do this for me." It says, "Oh, you're already doing something. I got an idea. Hit tab if you like it. Just ignore it if you don't like it." And it just, as I'm typing, the AI is inserting code into my screen. And then if
yeah,
I like what it wrote, I'll just take it and then I'll move on to the next thing. But the problem with that is that it's a prompt, and I have to know my domain language
there you
to get
go.
it to prompt what it needs to say, or it's just going to be gibberish.
Yeah,
So if I'm depending on AI to make a movie about something, I can't just say make me a movie about something. It's going to be trash. Like, I need to have a topic. I need to have, I'm not going to get granular enough to say, I need to describe the characters and their emotions or whatever. And build the whole scene that I want, and then the AI fills in the cracks of all the minutia that we know is a
Hmm.
pattern that's been previously established.
You
Right.
know what? I used to say that AI technology is still garbage in, garbage out. If you don't have the core skill set to, like if some AI in the hands of a rocket science, he can probably build a rocket, but AI with me building the rocket, we won't get the same result.
No.
So you still have to have a base level of knowledge and information as to what you're doing. And
Yeah.
that's
Right.
how people need to level up and find
But I
ways.
think that there's some value in the opportunity of putting AI in an average Joe's hands and
Oh,
teaching them
definitely.
how
Yeah.
to use it. Because the things that you do with AI, if you've been doing your job for 20 years, are very different from somebody that's like, oh well, I'm gonna try to use it to see if it can do this. And
Right.
it's just
No.
something completely random, like somebody off the street. They just trying to make something easier for themselves.
Hmm.
If you
Well, you
could
know what
teach
I've
them
seen.
how to leverage it.
Happen with respect to that is I've seen people, especially like when they're working with workforce automation or AI, they begin to learn how the AI is thinking on how they're to do their jobs, and then they begin to execute as how the AI would execute. So
Mhm.
the person is getting better in their skill set, be it like I said at the cultivation spot. If they're realizing that I'm getting better product with this formula, they now see the formula that AI is using that they would not have seen before. Same
Right.
as in customer service or retail. If you pay attention to the trends, you can become better at any level, like you said, at a beginner's level or even at an expert's level.
Right. So you're getting a peek behind the curtain, kind of like,
Yeah.
what are you
So
doing?
have you ever worked closely with somebody on a topic that you didn't know much about, but by the time you finish the project, you kind of feel like you learned a lot doing that?
Hmm.
Yeah.
That concept in software development is called pair developing,
Okay.
and I think it can work for just about anybody. If you can type on a keyboard, you can learn something by pairing with somebody who has some skill to impart. And I think
Same.
that
Yeah.
and AI in the computer world would do the same thing. Like Toya said, we bring somebody in who's just right off the street and doesn't know anything about computer programming, and we get them pointed in a direction, and then the AI helps them broaden the choices that they can make, and they might learn a lot more a lot quicker than they normally would busting open a book and trying to do class files and
Definitely,
compilations.
Right.
definitely on a large scale. What I've seen that workforce automation do, however, is even that lower person, they're going to have to still get their skill set up higher because you definitely are saving in man hours when you're using AI and workforce automation because you just don't need as many people. Like normally you might have needed 10 people to do cultivation in this spot, but now it just takes two people.
Right.
So it's going to probably be the two best out of those 10 that makes it to the cut. So
Mhm.
definitely you got to get your skills together that really pair well with what you want to do, to be honest.
Have either of you personally been impacted by workforce automation, either through like losing a job or being replaced? And if so,
Uh,
any feedback or guidance that you would give, like to
I
somebody
did.
that might be facing it?
I'm personally impacted even to this day, and I haven't lost a job and I haven't been replaced. I just get a larger workload that I'm responsible for. It's like
Mhm.
the AI helps me move faster, and now they expect me to move fast.
Right.
So,
So they
Yeah.
expect higher productivity because they like, listen, we gave you all these robots.
right,
We helping you automate.
Make them effective.
yeah, and it just so happens I'm in an industry where there's no shortage of things that need to be done. So, like if everybody's moving their maximum speed and the AI doubles that speed, we'll still be 10 years behind the things that we have on our backlog of what we needed to get accomplished. So I welcome it. But I recognize in manufacturing that it might just mean that we're running our factory for 8 hours instead of 16, and that we have 50 people on the floor instead of 3,000. Um, and that was, are you guys familiar with GM Powertrain in Dayton, Ohio?
Yeah.
Mhm.
It used to be a massive factory. It was kind of the backbone of Dayton's industry. and they
Yeah.
were running thousands of people every shift, and they made truck engines. It got replaced by Duramax diesel, and they only run a couple hundred people on a shift, and they only run 2 shifts a day, and they have roughly the same output. And
That's it.
yeah,
That's it.
and they pay a little bit more, but like you said, you have to elevate your skill level to get in there because competition is a little stiffer.
Definitely different.
Yeah.
And
What did they do? They put in some robots, or they put in some
So
equipment?
the machining process, when it was first built in GM powertrain, it had to be 70s style engine manufacturing, where they would make a part, they would cast the part out of metal and then go and machine it and then move it somewhere else and drill the holes in it and move it somewhere else and test it that it's perfect, and then move it somewhere else and start assembling the parts. And that was everything came together. But with the new plant, they put their cast into this assembly line, and the machine just pushes it all the way through, and it comes out the other end, and it's already tested and measured and drilled and prepped, and it's ready for assembly. And it's just one person at the beginning of the line and one person at the end of the line that pulls it out.
What parts are they creating? What is the
That's an engine block. The
engine.
biggest or the first part that they make is the engine block.
So they're a supply chain to the automotive industry, I'm assuming?
Yeah, pickup trucks, Yukons, any GM or Chevy truck that has a diesel engine is gonna have a Duramax in it.
Okay. Yeah, that's not my kind of car. What about you, Darius? Have you been impacted by workforce automation, or have you incorporated any into your nightclubs, or seen it in that?
Well, it's kind of like what Isaac said. If anything, it's streamline different activities, be it scheduling, be it project management, inventory is streamlined. So I'm always looking for a way for it to impact and make better efficiencies, because I'm usually coming from the owner standpoint. Because what I was going to say earlier to Isaac's point is all those efficiencies and cost savings doesn't necessarily always get passed to the consumer.
Right.
So as a business owner, you benefit more on a profit margin of just efficiencies. They have ordering systems. Matter of fact, I think Lando's going to be opening up a wine bar, something wine about, where they have yeah, they're going to have automatic pouring systems for wine. And I've seen that. Now, there are some trade-offs to those efficiencies. And I always think that's what makes us special as humans. There's the human. I'm a guy who likes the human touch. I'm the guy who goes into the bank, talks to the teller to build a relationship. And I think that's always going to be critical. So that's where creativity comes into play. Just the human touch of interacting with people. So we can do some things, but it's not always to the best benefit to use automation per se. So
yeah, I like the when you're a regular at a bar and they do a pour for you, and it's a little bit heavy-handed.
Yeah.
Like if the robot is doing that, he's not going to treat me special.
Well, exactly. Well, that's the perfect example. The human touch knows you come here every day. The automatic pour at the wine thing is going to treat you just like the guy who came yesterday. So I think there's something to be said about, even with the customer service in the retail aspect of like the dispensaries. Now we do have systems to where people can come in, automatically order, and get what they want. So that makes it faster for the consumer. But some people want to talk to the bud tender about how it's going to affect them, and what's best. What happened when you use this? So there's some benefits to it. I think there's some drawbacks. I'm always leaning towards the human side of things. So I just think you got to incorporate the both.
Right.
Oh, for
And
sure.
really what we do in retail, and people experience it at McDonald's. And when you go to McDonald's and you got that automatic ordering thing, I hate that myself. But
I hate it at McDonald's.
I love it.
No. I love it at rallies. But at McDonald's, I'd rather talk to a person.
Yeah, that's an example of workforce automation in retail, because it's the same with us. But at the dispensary level, we provide that we provide the options for people who
Mhm.
want to talk to a person. You can do that, or if you just want to order automatically, you can do that as well. But I
I
think
think there are pros and cons, right? Like for McDonald's in particular, I want to go back to that example. I
yeah,
go in and there's like a line out the door and
okay,
like
I,
the
I feel that.
drive-through is crazy. I'm like, I ain't got time for this. Boop, boop, boop. I'm gonna get my oatmeal, my hash brown, and my frappe, my caramel frappe. I know exactly what I want. It's gonna be $7.77. I don't need to talk to that lady. Like, and
I
I'm
got
done. I give them a little tag, and then I'm out of there. And they looking around like, how'd she do that? Like, because I use the automation that they put in place. But I think that it's generational, right?
It
Like,
is. It
I
is
would
very.
consider myself a little bit more tech,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I guess I would say adjacent, if you will. Like, I'm not a programmer, but I can play one on TV type situation.
Exactly.
Enhance.
What'd you say?
I was doing the enhance thing from CSI.
Like, but I
But you're
think that,
comfortable with it, though. That's the
yeah,
key
I'm
thing.
comfortable. But you can watch other people; they get very frustrated. It's like, oh,
That's
this
me.
ain't working. I
That's
ain't
me.
finding the stuff that I want. Then I
Yeah.
done sat here and ordered all this stuff. This ain't even what I thought I was getting. And
Or
now
you spend 5 minutes ordering, and at the end, you don't know how to finish the transaction. And then you thought you finished the transaction, and you're standing there waiting for your order. And then
right.
you go like, so,
And now you look like the idiot. It's like, this ain't even my job. I'll
yeah.
never forget when I went into
Bro.
Walmart and it was the first time that they had that daggone conveyor belt. I was outdone. I was so angry because I'm like, I ain't signed up to work for y'all. I
There you
didn't.
go.
Like,
Yeah.
and I don't think that's an automation thing. Like,
Nah, it's automation on every half because you got to scan
right.
and bag your own stuff, which is
Right.
not
They said we going self-serve to a whole nother level.
free
Yeah.
labor.
Self checkout it's kind of annoying for anybody who's good at technology. And it's even worse if you're not. And you
Yeah.
sometimes you'll stand in that line. Like the worst one I think is Lowe's for me because people have giant carts and 2x4s and they don't always have stickers on it. So they're like typing in search for product by name. And I'm
Yeah.
like, all I wanted was a bag of dirt so I can leave.
And
So I
you
think
waiting on these people.
that just shows you how it has immersed our lives and it touches everything. So there is, I don't think, like I said, I don't think there is no next just because it's just so immersive in our life as it is. It's just part of everything we do. So
Yeah, but if you don't think those, have you seen the self-driving cars down in, I think it's in Texas or Florida, where
They're
they're
yeah,
everywhere.
already,
They're
they're
everywhere.
picking you up on Lyft. It's
yeah.
Oh,
not Lyft, it's
those.
some other like
Yeah.
service. They'll pick you up and there's nobody driving. Like,
Well, they're
that's,
doing trucking loads like that too. But even still, once again, it goes back to there's still going to be a role for people to play. You just have to augment your skill set, and there's going to be opportunity for business development as well.
Yeah.
Always there's opportunity, so you just got to augment your skill set and pay attention. Look for opportunities to come about.
absolutely.
And you kind of got, I don't know, it's a natural thing you got to do. I don't know.
Yeah.
I
What
do
do
though.
you think would make a person more valuable as you think about like what's coming next and how the robots might start to become
Hey,
more prevalent and
I got one.
AI get smarter, you know,
I
and
got one
machine
quick
learning?
statement for
What would you
that.
say?
I got one quick statement to that Isaac said earlier. He was talking about prompts. What I think the most important thing that will make you value, and then I pass it to Isaac, is creativity. Creativity. If you can be creative enough to come up with the communication or the prompt to dive deeper with the I think that's where it is. You have to be creative enough to figure out how to apply it. That's my piece.
I was going to piggyback on an AI in the retail space or even like consumer facing.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking about sometimes you don't get that personal experience. And if you're selling something and the customer has questions about your products, like I'm
Mhm.
thinking in my head, if I'm enterprising enough that I could help teach an AI or create an AI that can say, oh, maybe I should do customer interviews when they come in. So the AI itself is learning more about the product so that it can then start answering questions when other customers ask about it, and then recognize customers that come in, use a facial recognition, and say, oh, maybe I'm going to pour a little bit heavier on this guy because I see
like
him all the
that.
time.
I like that. There you go.
This robot's over here flirting with your customers and learning how to give them what they want, and then treating them better than other customers to make them feel like they're getting a custom experience. I'm like,
that's the creativity piece, though. Right. You just create enough to figure that out. Come up with an algorithm. Person comes in 5 times, they get a little ounce more.
Yeah, for real. Because that is the beauty of it. I was just talking to Lando about this earlier. Like, that's the beauty of going to Cooper's Hawk. We only go to this one guy at Cooper's Hawk for our wine tastings because he gives us a little extra. Like, we're going to be wasted by the time we leave there. And that's the goal. For $10 a person, we're going to be wasted. We're going to have a good time. And we're going to crack jokes with him. But he is part of the experience, you know? And so you do have to think about how do you incorporate that once you go into an automated fashion where it's just pouring without the person.
Right. And people should always look for opportunities. Like, you don't have to be a programmer or a creator to take advantage of a gap in an industry. You just have to be able to recognize the gap in industry and start connecting yourself in places where you can help fill that gap and possibly monetize it, or just make yourself more presentable for a job industry that might be dying or shifting or pivoting on technology.
Absolutely. Well, with that, we have a few minutes. Let's see. Black women are expected to fare better than Black American men in the age of automation, largely due to their gains in healthcare careers. The future of work in Black America. I know that there has been a lot of changes in the healthcare industry, and obviously there are a lot of Black women nursing in that healthcare arena. So I do think that women, especially women that are in nursing and like service-oriented environments, are going to have to really set themselves apart to not be overtaken by some of the automation where it comes to like sterilization and some of those rudimentary tasks where they're constantly doing the same thing over and over again. They will figure out how to automate some of that stuff as we go forward. So for sure. In the last minute, I'm going to ask you if you guys have any last words and contact information, because we're going to be thanking our sponsors here in a minute.
Okay. I would say just don't be afraid of technology. Everybody's been afraid of every step of technology since the wheel was invented. And the car didn't make the horse obsolete, and the AI is not going to make you obsolete.
Absolutely. Any contact information, Isaac?
I have an Instagram and Facebook. Anybody can contact me there. And I bet if you Googled IR Higgs, you might find 1,000 other social medias. My MySpace gone, though.
I hope no MySpace pops up. What about you, Darius?
My Black Planet page is no longer working either. So.
That's right.
Yeah. But I would just say, like I said before, embrace the opportunity to learn technology, AI, and excel with it. Be an early adapter, like ChatGPT. They even got a new ChatGPT 4.0 out. I use it every day, and it just makes me more proficient. So, yes, embrace it. Be bold with it.
All right.
My contact information, you can go DariusBubble.com.
Absolutely. Well, we appreciate you guys spreading some knowledge today and just encouraging us to use technology. Don't be afraid of it, and make yourself creative so that you don't get replaced. With that, I'm going to go ahead and thank our sponsors. Thanks again, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Today's episode of The Plug is sponsored by the following companies. At the platinum level, we have Alpha Wolf Aerials. Alpha Wolf Aerials offers unparalleled aerial photography, videography, inspection, and search and rescue services. Elevate your perspective with their cutting-edge technology and commitment to excellence, ensuring high-quality results for all your aerial needs. Connect with them on Instagram at alpha_wolf _aerials and discover the difference with Alpha Wolf Aerials, mastering the sky, leading the pack. At the gold level, we have Boonrise Creative Agency. Boonrise creates videos that spark hope and action for their clients. To request a quote for your next creative project, go to boonrise.com. At the silver level, we have Made You Look Unlimited. Made You Look offers embroidered and screen printed t-shirts, postcards, banners, yard signs, and so much more. Give them a call for your next custom promotional project, and they will have you covered. They can be reached at Made You, letter U, LOOK Unlimited on Facebook and Instagram, or by calling 513-383-3010. Last but certainly not least, at the bronze level, we have Today's Mail. Today's Mail is a local and over-the-road, on-demand, and scheduled delivery service who provides safe and sufficient deliveries. They can be reached at 513-300-0546 for all your local and over-the-road delivery needs. The Plug thanks all of our sponsors for helping us keep you connected.